Hello, everybody. How you doing? Let's stand up and give ourselves a high five to your neighbors, right? A new day, new beginnings, new ways to learn today. And unfortunately, my partner, you can sit down now, it's all right. All right. So my partner in crime, Melinda, has pneumonia. I think yeah, that's what it's called in English. It's lunginflammation, so she couldn't make it today. But she's here in spirit, okay? So imagine Melinda is right here. And we wanted to share 10 lessons learned from transforming Telenor. So being part of the journey of doing some big changes at Telenor Norway. We hope you'll find the content useful. So a little bit about Telenor. So it's been around for a long time, 170 years, 3,000 employees. And we're working on a big problem. We're trying to transform a traditional telco to a techco. So innovating, challenging the existing business model, providing more value to customers. And the mantra that we have is, what took us here won't take us forward, right? And the shift, we're focusing on, we need to challenge the market, right? How do we go to market? How do we lead differently? How do we build a better culture, a culture that is focused on experimentation and learning? How do we change the tech? So from traditional legacy systems to a more scalable tech stack. And then value. How do we bring more value to customers? How do we innovate? And these are the 10 lessons learned from this journey. So it's been a journey for about a little bit more than a year. And I've been a coach there for, a year. And I'm an independent product coach, part of the enablement team. So let's start with the first lesson. So transformation, that's a big word, right? And what does transformation mean? That means change, right? Going from the status quo to somewhere different. And that might be daunting for new people, to learn and unlearn certain things, to change their way of working, to change the way they're leading. And that's why it's so important to have a simple message. Because you, in the audience, you're all change leaders. You're driving change in some shape or another in your organization. And what are your tools? What tools do you use? Words, pictures, communication, right? And this is a key communication tool that we use to describe this new way of working. So we have a team-first approach at Telenor. That means that we put the teams in the driver's seat. The teams are empowered to define the solutions to build, right? Agile, empowered product teams. And the concept that we use is tight, loose, tight, meaning that leaders define the problems to solve, the goals, and then the teams are empowered to solve the problems through solutions, experimentation. And then they learn, they measure data, insights, and follow up. So we have this loop of putting teams first. And also, this is the ecosystem of connecting leaders with teams. The second lesson, treat transformation as a product, not a project. How do you work with product? You test, you learn, you iterate, right? And the key here is that when we started the journey of transformation, we picked a few teams and value streams. So teams of teams are called value streams. And then we coached, we mentored, we supported these teams, and we asked them to share results. So we nudged them. Okay, what have you learned? What data do you have? What insights from customers? What has been the benefit for you as a team with this new way of working? And that builds momentum when you put the spotlight on the teams, right? And then other teams outside of the initial value streams, they become excited and interested. This is interesting. That technique, I want to try that, right? So it's this momentum flywheel that's happening. The third lesson. So for the teams that we started coaching, use a beginner's toolkit because it's daunting, right? To change from a project mindset of build these features and specifications from some manager or leader in the organization to being in the driver's seat to being empowered. And so what do I do as a team member? All right, I need to do discovery. What does discovery mean? And these are the tools that we coached and trained during the onset of the transformation. And they've proven to be quite successful in teaching this product mindset. So OKRs, no news to you, right? But it's an empowerment technique. You give problems to solve to teams as goals, as OKRs. And then pre-mortem, you've probably been in post-mortems, right? How many of you have been in post-mortems? Yeah? They're no fun, but there's a lot of learning happening. But what if you flip that and think about pre-mortem? Put the cards on the table. What could go wrong? So you tackle product risks. Because your job as product developers, what is your job? To tackle product risk so the risk of building the wrong thing. And then the third tool that's been really successful is from Teresa Torres' book, Continuous Discovery Habits. The opportunity to solution tree was, as we say in Scandinavia, ost, right? Connecting the bigger picture to the smaller picture, connecting the OKR to a small experiment that you can run to create that tree diagram, your roadmap for discovery and delivery activities. So that has proven to be a really good beginner's toolkit to, in a few workshops, get teams to really understand the core concepts of this product mindset and teams first approach that we talked about. The fourth lesson, crappy first drafts. The power of crappy first drafts. How many books are there on OKRs? Maybe 50, 100? How do you write the perfect OKR? The perfect process for an OKR, etc. And when teaching leaders and teams around OKRs, we say, okay, these are some fundamental aspects about OKRs. They're problems to solve. And then you have success criteria to solve those problems in the form of key results. And when we facilitated workshops with leaders and teams, some of the OKRs have listed features and deadlines and things like that. And as a coach, you say, oh, I've messed up. I need to go in and nitpick and give them exact details on how to write the perfect OKR. But take a step back. It's okay. It's okay for them to write not perfect OKRs. Say that it's okay to have crappy first drafts, and then you have opportunity to refine. The next lesson, build habits. How many of you have read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear? So the thesis of that book is that if you take small steps every day, every week, every month, you become better, right? It's this idea of continuous improvement. And this is no news to you, right? But we tend to forget that as coaches, to build these habits of continuous improvement when it comes to experimentation and discovery. So something that we've been coaching teams is to say, all right, run an experiment in 2 weeks. And when we said that to a team once, they said, no, that's not possible. We can't put code in production in 2 weeks. That's not going to work. Because we have too many dependencies and things like that. And we said, give it a try. Just take a small step. Learn something small. And then they said, okay, well, we'll try it and see. And then maybe it took them 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then they ran another experiment, and then another, and then another. And it became natural to them to work this way. So it's this power of building habits. The next lesson, celebrate wins. Your job as a change leader, what is it? It's to win the hearts and minds of people, that they want to move away from the status quo to something new. That's a bit uncomfortable, right? It's new. I need to learn new things. And a tool to do that is to put the spotlight on the teams, like I mentioned before. And imagine this, just like this room, 200 people in the room, we organized a product meetup. And before the meetup, we asked for submissions of teams sharing their impact stories. And we got 25 plus impact stories from working in this new way. And we selected 6. And we hosted this product meetup, 200 people in the room, listening to teams sharing what they've learned and their experiments and their data and their insights. It was magical. And so many senior stakeholders were in the room. It was almost electric. It's the first time as a transformation coach, I really felt, wow, this is a pivotal moment for the transformation. Next one, build communities. We build communities as coaches, right? But new communities, product leads, value stream leaders, tech leads, designers. And the idea is for us as coaches to kick off the communities of practice, but then getting the people in the room to be in the driver's seat of setting the agenda and teaching and training and mentoring and coaching. So we did that a year ago. We started this community of practice for product leads. And we, from the enablement team, coaches, we taught theory and practices relating to teams first. But then, fast forward 2-3 months later, product leaders were interested in, oh, I have some thoughts on this, and I want to share a lesson learned, and can I be on the agenda? And now, fast forward a year, us coaches are just on stage to introduce. And then the session is facilitated by the product leads themselves. Lesson 8, be aware of the seasons of change. I think you talked about this yesterday, right? And as a change leader, you go through certain phases, just like the seasons, right? In the beginning, there's spring, there's excitement, and there's summer, things are blooming and blossoming. And then there's fall. There's politics. There's awkwardness. Some weird emails happening. People are starting to CC each other. Weird stuff happening on Slack as well. And then there's winter. Doors are closing, right? But then as coaches, we need to just be aware that next day or next week or next month, there will be spring again, right? So keep that thought in mind. Lesson number 9, work closely with leadership teams. So in order for this transformation to work, because you're turning every stone in the organization, from the way we go to the market, to our culture, to our tech, to the way we do business, the way we service customers, the leadership team needs to be on board. And just an example of that. So Birgitte is the CEO of Telenor Norway, and she has a newsletter called Friday Wins. And she shares wins, not just from the transformation, but other wins in the organization. And she shares stories about, the product meetup or teams have done great work to just showcase that she's a supporter of this transformation and this change. Lesson number 10, the final lesson, measure success. So as coaches, we need to measure that we're providing value, right? And the way we do that is we have a heat map survey. It's a Mentimeter survey, 20 questions, with questions like, we identify and address risk early, right? Tackle product risks. We use insight and data to make decisions and measure impact. And then in our team, we share ideas and mistakes openly and learn from each other. So psychological safety. So direction, experimentation, discovery, psychological safety, team aspects. And when we start coaching a specific team or a value stream, we run this assessment to check, okay, what is the baseline? And then we tailor our toolkit and our workshops and our training and coaching and mentoring based on those insights. Those were the lessons, folks. All right, so 10 lessons from transforming Telenor. And the journey is just beginning, right? It's a year in. And there's a bunch of interesting things happening. So we're expanding the enablement team. So 2 more product coaches are joining after the summer. We're launching a training program for product trios in the organization. So we're recruiting product trios from various parts of the organization and teaching, training, coaching, mentoring them throughout 3 months relating to the concepts I just talked about. And then another thing that's worth noting is that since all value streams are launched now, so 150 or so teams, we can't service them all. We're just a handful of coaches. So something that we're changing is our stance, right? We are focusing on a few key teams based on a few criteria, and then we work with them deeply, right? Closely to teach and train and coach them. So we're not spreading ourselves thin. So that's a bit of a change now. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got some nuggets, some insights from these 10 lessons. Feel free to follow Melinda and I on LinkedIn. She says hi. Um, and then a gift. Hi, right? And then a gift to you. So I've written this book. It's a PDF, 150 pages or so, around anti-patterns when moving to the product operating model. So similar principles that we just talked about. So you can get it for free if you sign up to my newsletter. So you get it in a welcome email when you sign up to my newsletter. So please do that. And I will also share more insights relating to this journey and other journeys with my clients. So again, thank you very much for listening and have an amazing day. All right?